What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlemania here, back with some more news. It's another big news day, so let's not waste any time. Join us now as Wrestlemania looks at the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including Vince trolling the entire main roster, the SmackDown portion of Wrestlemania is in chaos, another WWE superstar suspended, is Matt Hardy heading to NXT, an ex-WWE diva is on parole, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the first story, as Vince trolls the entire main roster. Now, whether or not the rumors were true regarding the main roster being held up in the Kingdom after last year's Crown Jewel event, the roster made sure to tell Vince they didn't want the same travel debacle this year with Atlas Air, the charter flight that took them there and back to Saudi Arabia. Now, WWE management let the roster know they would make alternative arrangements for the next trip and avoid Atlas Air altogether. However, Vince just proved to be one of the biggest trolls and did nothing of the sorts. Wrestling Insider WrestleVotes tweeted, "After the last Saudi trip in November, which included the travel delays, WWE management let talent know they would look into alternative charters for the next trip as opposed to using Atlas Air again. The crew heading back to Saudi this week boarded Atlas Air last night. It looks like Vince wants another travel issue, an excuse to bring NXT superstars to SmackDown again, just like last year. Let's hope nothing happens this time around." Next up, the SmackDown portion of WrestleMania is in chaos. Now, we've heard a variety of rumors about WrestleMania 36's card, particularly regarding the Universal Championship. Recently, former WWE superstar Bully Ray commented on the situation during an episode of Busted Open Radio. "I've heard rumblings within WWE. Nothing is set in stone on the SmackDown side of WrestleMania. When it comes to the Universal Championship for WrestleMania, a lot of matches are in a state of flux. I think we only have 2 definite matches so far set, Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre plus Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. Everything else is up for grabs. While nothing has been set in stone, the WWE seems to have things being put in place. With John Cena showing up on the 28th February SmackDown, it's clear we'll know Cena's opponent as well as who The Fiend is facing. We'll also know who will be defending the Universal Championship after Thursday's Super Showdown. Be sure to check out our predictions video coming later today. So while nothing's set in stone per se, we're going to know soon. Next up, Raw's ratings take a dip. The ratings for the 24th February Raw are in, and Dave Shearer of PW Insider is reporting that the 24th February edition of Raw brought in 2,210,000 overnight viewers, down from last week's 2,437,000 overnight viewers. They were down over 9% from last week. It bears mentioning that although 9% drop is nothing to strive for, Raw has done this before, as recently as the 3rd February episode, dipping from the previous week's show. And next up, another WWE superstar has been suspended. Now, after weeks of rumors that Samoa Joe had violated WWE's wellness policy, WWE.com revealed WWE has suspended Samoa Joe for 30 days effective Monday, February 21st for his first violation of the company's talent wellness policy. Joe, the latest member of the WWE's Head Trauma Club for Men, has had a rough go of it over the last 6 months, and this suspension is just the latest episode in the series of bad luck for the Samoan submission machine. Next up is Matt Hardy headed to NXT. With Matt Hardy's WWE contract ending on 1st March, fans are anxious as to Matt's next career move. PW Insider's Mike Johnson discussed Hardy's future, noting, "By the way, we've had a lot of questions about Matt Hardy. His contract is scheduled to be up on March 1st, which is this Sunday. A lot of people have asked me what he's going to be doing. This is just my theory. I know that WWE has made a lot of overtures to him in the last couple of weeks. There's been some talk of him working in the NXT system somehow. My gut feeling is that Matt Hardy will probably stay." Now, if Matt Hardy were to receive the same amount of money like WWE has reportedly offered him and get some sort of creative control in NXT, that might be what Matt needs to finish his wrestling career in the WWE. However, we think AEW offers Matt a bigger platform to showcase his talents than NXT. He's also made more cryptic clues on where he's going in his latest Free the Delete episode. The video titled Dear Dr. RKO may have a hidden meaning behind it. Nova Just Nova figured out that Dear Dr. RKO turned out to spell Dark Order. Hardy has also been tweeting at NWA. Could that also be an option for him? Whatever the case, we'll find out soon. Next up, how much are Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley making in NXT? Finn Balor surprised the WWE Universe when he showed up in NXT, a major career move for a main roster star and one that came with a major question. Was Balor taking a pay cut? Well, according to Dave Meltzer, Balor is still ranking in the same pay he enjoyed on the main roster. Sorry Gargano, but NXT isn't the main roster. Quite the cushy situation when you consider the much lighter schedule Balor works. But what about current NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley, who has appeared on Raw? Well, according to Melt, Ripley would in theory get bonus pay for her appearances on the Red brand. There's no word on how much the bonus is though, or whether she's getting it for her appearances. Ripley likely won't be the only NXT superstar getting a main roster bonus, as there are rumors circulating that Bianca Belair is going to be a big part of the Charlotte vs Rhea storyline. Could this mean another triple threat at Mania? Next up, Cody Rhodes on AEW's women's division. All Elite Wrestling has some talented wrestlers, including its women's division. Nonetheless, the women's division has justifiably been criticized for not being ready for prime time. During a teleconference, AEW Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes discussed the women's division at length, noting, "The women's division is growing. I would actually say when you hear the criticisms, you hear the good things about your show, things people don't like, and you've got to keep your ears open. You can't be closed-minded to it. One thing that is going to take time is the women's division in particular. It's a merit-based show." Cody seemed to be aware not only that the women's division needs improvement, but that it's about more than running it for what he called woke points. I think certain people are out to get woke points with women's wrestling, when in actuality, women's wrestling does incredibly well in the minute by minute with merch and ticket sales, so we genuinely want to make this a big part of our brand. Hopefully more of that in 2020 and into 2021 as we go forward. Could Cody be referring to the WWE, which heavily promotes its women's revolution and has come under criticism for marketing its women's division while not always promoting or paying them the same as its men? Next up, Tony Khan reflects on WCW's many mistakes. There's no question AEW has surprised the industry with its success, and it seems like AEW President Tony Khan is looking to the past to make sure AEW doesn't fall into the pitfalls that the WWE's former arch-rival WCW did after it looked to have things going its way. During an interview with the Financial Times, Khan pointed out WCW's disastrous mistakes, such as paying talent who never worked and advertising matches that never happened. Sounds like Tony watched our Final Bell episode on the last days of WCW. Do you think AEW is making any serious mistakes right now? Be sure to leave your comments down below. Next up, Cody Rhodes. What's old is new. When he's not moonsaulting off steel cages, Cody Rhodes is busy speaking to the media about AEW. During an interview with Sports Illustrated, Rhodes discussed how AEW incorporates the past and the new into their product. Matt and Nick Jackson introduced a new style of tag team psychology. Kenny Omega provides an absolutely different way of doing wrestling that is really important to the evolution of wrestling. Hangman is a big run and gun heavyweight. My strength is plugging into wrestling I grew up on from the late 80s to the early 90s and even further back. There's no doubt that AEW features a variety of styles and types of matches, whether it's their weekly television or pay-per-views. Rhodes also talked about how AEW relies on the advice of past wrestlers. All these elements of magic are available to use from some of the greats, and I try to pick up as much as I can from some of the best ever. I'm not going to name names, but when you have the two greatest of all time texting you every week critiquing your work, there's not a better pep talk than that. We can't help but wonder who Cody is referring to, but as we saw with Tony Khan's comments on WCW, it's good to learn the positives and negatives from the past as you blaze a new path. Next up, Ryback discusses questionable Wrestlemania payouts. Ryback is never at loss for words when it comes to criticizing the WWE. With the showcase of the Immortals fast approaching, Ryback wanted to call out the WWE for questionable payouts for its stars. And that WrestleMania payday is the best payday of the year, but in my time there we got effed over quite a bit. My first one with Mark was decent. It was my best singles payout that I ever gotten, which was still way under than it probably should have been from what other guys in that position in years past probably made. They put me in the pre-shows for the other 4 or whatever else that I did, and they knew that drove me crazy. Those payouts sucked, that's being honest. With the WWE experiencing a financial downturn of late, it's possible the promotion will shortchange some of its stars when it comes to its WrestleMania bonuses. At the same time, bonuses are usually paid out based on merit, so who is to say whether the WWE won't reward its wrestlers if WrestleMania 36 is a success? Next up, an ex-WWE diva has been paroled. A PW Insider is reporting that Tammy Sytch, aka WWE Hall of Famer Sunny, was paroled from Carbon County Correctional in Pennsylvania. The troubled 47-year-old has been in and out of correctional facilities and battled substance abuse issues on and off for years. Wrestlemania sends its best wishes to Miss Sytch for a successful rehabilitation. But there you have it, guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.